Play at Novabet.
Hello and a warm welcome to our weekly Irish Angle show in association with Novibet. This week I just have Emma Nagle with me. There's no Johnny Ward. Johnny is in a maternity hospital at the moment waiting on his partner to have their first child. A little bit of inside information. It's going to be a boy, we're told, so hopefully all goes well. So Johnny was a last minute dropout, Emma, but you're still here, so two of us can have a little look through what's gone on in the last week, and more importantly, probably for a lot of people watching this, is what's coming up this week, because we've got Royal Ascot starting tomorrow. Should be great. I see you've got the hair done already for it. You're heading over, aren't you?
Yeah, we shouldn't be stuck about for stuff to talk about, I suppose. Yeah, I'm heading over tomorrow morning, flying early, to go racing Tuesday and Wednesday. So yeah, looking forward to. Never been to Royal Ascot now, so kind of the whole dressing up thing, I think, adds to it a bit as well, because the lads have the tops and tails and the strict dress codes, and kind of adds to the excitement of it. Yeah, but looking forward to it now, and kind of getting the decorations through for the first 2 days there, the last day or two, and yeah, plenty of a strong kind of Irish representation. It's looks like a good week ahead, I'd say.
Oh, it should be fantastic. Yeah, I've never been myself now, but probably something I should put on the bucket list at some stage. So I don't know whether I get a hat to fit me. Anyway, there we go. We'll go back into the first thing from last week. The big thing was last Wednesday, this RTÉ documentary. It was horrific stuff, wasn't it? Primetime Investigates. I presume, like, you've talked to lots of people since, in and around your friends and other people within the industry, outside the industry. What do you think? It's a mess, isn't it?
Yeah, it was really tough watching. I think the last 15-20 minutes where they went into the abattoir in Straffan, or the building beside it where their horses were being held before going to slaughter. It was really, really tough viewing. It's kind of hard to believe, I suppose. People probably put it to the back of their minds a bit, but you'd expect, if a horse was going to an abattoir to be slaughtered, it would be done in under strict Department of Agriculture regulation, and what was going on inside there. It was really, really tough viewing, and the fallout from it, plenty of backlash to racing, which deservedly so in some ways. Like, the majority of horses, I think they said, were thoroughbreds, bred to race. I think about 400 of them had raced. And to be sent to somewhere like this to meet their fate just isn't acceptable. Yeah, what was your thoughts on the whole thing?
Oh, I think it's absolutely desperate. Like, it's beyond barbaric, isn't it? Like, I really didn't think. I knew things go on in racing. You hear all the different stories about different things, whether they be in yards or stud farms or just generally to do with horses. There's always going to be someone. And look, we've all this people racing sulkies up motorways and all that sort of stuff going on. We know it shouldn't be, but I really didn't think there was anything as bad as this. And this is in a licensed abattoir, the only one in the Republic of Ireland. Like, it's not as if they've 10,000 of these and one of them slipped through the net. There's only one place, and that's what's going on in the one place. It's astonishing.
Yeah, I think, like, most people were just shocked that, like, kind of mentioned during the show, that a department vet would be on site at all times. Like, how did they let that slip under their fingers? Like, some of the stuff that the camera showed, it's kind of like it was really, really grim viewing, and how anyone could do that to an animal. But like you said, it's the only licensed abattoir in Ireland. How did the department leave this go on, like, literally right under their noses? There was a department representative on site supposedly every day of the week, and the horses going in there were in terrible condition a lot of the time. Yeah, it's harrowing, and it's good to see in the last couple of days it's been shut down and serious investigation going in there. You'd hope that anyone who was involved in what they showed in the show would be brought to serious justice, because it was totally barbaric, the whole thing.
Yeah, the other thing is, like the program aired on Wednesday, but quite a bit before that, apparently, RTÉ passed that information and presumably the same video footage to the Department of Agriculture, Food and the Marine, because the minister in charge says that they've been investigating this for several weeks. So they knew about it, yet they didn't close it. The show airs on Wednesday, and they still didn't close the abattoir. They waited till Sunday when there was going to be a protest outside it, and now they've closed it down while they have further investigation. I don't know. I really don't know what's going on or how this could happen. The other thing, I mentioned this in my blog, and this is one that just really catches me, that I can't understand it. The lairage where the video footage was taken in that last 15 minutes of the show in the same premises, basically, or in the same yard area as the abattoir is. Like, you can imagine you're sitting in the abattoir there as a Department of Agriculture vet, and you're sitting there with your arms folded, waiting on the first horse to come in the morning. You're going to see how it all goes. And you don't hear any of this going on across the way in the other building is the first thing. Or that the people who are in the other building that are absolutely losing their mind, beating horses to a pulp over there, that when they bring them across into the abattoir, they weren't doing the same, that they were perfectly normal then. Oh yeah, it was grand. They were just tapping them on the bum. Come on, little horsey, in you come. Like, there's no way that was going on. So I don't know. I'm really frustrated by it, to be honest with you. And I think there needs to be some sort of a permanent solution to this, rather than what's like we had the BBC Panorama documentary was 2021. That's 3 years ago. And this is still going on in Ireland 3 years later, when it should have all been sorted after that. There was one in 2017, I think it was, or 19, in Australia, a very similar one showing similar abuses going on with the slaughtering of horses. Like, what are we going to get? 2026 or 2027, there'll be another one showing similar things again somewhere else, and no one seems to learn any lessons by it or sort anything out. It really is frustrating. And look,
Yeah.
here's a thought I had. You tell me if this can work or could possibly work, or maybe it's just a harebrained suggestion. But the bottom line is here, Ireland is one of the leading lights of breeding horses in the world. And we pride ourselves on it. It's a massive industry, both for here and all the horses that go abroad and everything else. And we like to think we're world leaders in every way. Well, why not become world leaders in the humane end of life for horses? So that my basic suggestion will be, I don't know how it would work in practice, but I'm sure it can, is that when a horse is bred in Ireland, if you want to bring a mare to any stallion in Ireland, or from abroad or here or whatever else, you pay a levy on top of the stallion fee, whatever that may be, an extra couple of % that covers the cost of humanely destroying that horse when it comes to the time of its end of life. So it doesn't matter whether it's still a racehorse and it's in a yard in Kilkenny, or it's been sold on several times more and it ends up it's a hack pony for some kid up in Sweden. That at the end of it, if it's an Irish bred thoroughbred, that the cost of putting that down humanely by a recognised trained vet and everything else, so that there's none of this going on. Could that be a solution?
Yeah, I mean, definitely something along those lines kind of has to be serious. Like, there's probably plenty of statements being put out, but like you have to see kind of real action and something along those lines. I mean, it's not a massive cost to put a horse down at home, and you'd hope that any racehorse who suffered a serious injury, that should be the fate they get. They should have the respect to put them down then and there by a vet at home, and not be shipped off to one of these places to, while you would hope that if a horse was sent to an abattoir, they wouldn't have been treated like they were, even, transporting an injured horse. But, I suppose you have to kind of face the reality of it a bit as well, as in racing. Like, there's definitely an overproduction of horses. There's horses probably being bred who really shouldn't be. How you regulate that then is kind of another kind of worms. Like, how can you really stop someone breeding a horse? Like, should there be rules on, stallions or mares going to the breeding shed? Like, should they have a certain level of ability on the track? Should they have, maybe a rating system for pedigrees, whether they should be allowed to reproduce? But like, that would be something that's very, very hard to monitor. But like, just the amount of thoroughbreds that are being bred, just like going by the numbers that go through the abattoir, it's obviously way, way too high. A lot of them don't even make it anywhere near the track. And, what happens with them, I think people probably have to, if the breeding can't be regulated, like you said, being able to put them to sleep humanely, if there's no other kind of career path for them, is the only way forward. And it's kind of a worry, I suppose, the abattoir being closed, because being put down humanely is definitely a better fate than, cruelty that horses might face if they're just left to waste in a field. So, there's so many different kind of questions that will come out of it. And, like you mentioned, it's definitely probably a sensible solution. But, what kind of actions are going to come from the show, I suppose we'll have to wait and see. But you'd hope that, that the department, HRI, the IHRB, they'll all look seriously into what racing can do to improve the situation, because what's been revealed, whereas like a lot of the show actually wasn't totally around racehorses. There was a lot of different parts of the equine industry mentioned, but racing has a serious responsibility to these horses, because they provide us with so much. I think when it comes to the end of their life, we have to do an awful lot more than what's being done at the moment.
Yeah. The other last thing around this for me that I thought was bizarre in the show was they showed some horse that had been sold in Goresbridge or whatever and went on then, and there was an extra microchip put into it at some point, and it was made look to be a younger horse than it was. So it's up in Sweden or somewhere, and they're on about the people who bought it and got back onto wherever they bought it from and everything else. They were saying that the microchip on it, when you put the microchip reader on it, it's showing this to be a 12-year-old or whatever. But the RTÉ investigative journalist can move his microchip reader about 2 centimeters to the right, and there's another microchip in. How would a vet not find that out, or anybody else that's checking that horse at any stage? It seems a simple thing. Like, whatever about if someone took out the first microchip and you stuck in a different one, but the fact that 2 of them sitting in a horse, it seems astonishing that no one would find the original one.
Yes, it's fairly incredible. Like some of the fraud, it was hard to wrap your head around it. Even in the Abattoir, they showed one of the guys, and was he spray painting one of the horse's legs to make it look like a different horse and different microchips, and it's obviously a huge issue, and like the whole system of passports and microchips obviously needs to be looked into, because if it's that easy to kind of commit fraud in the whole thing, there's just so many issues came out of the show. It was a lot more than I actually expected it to be. I was expecting cruelty in the Abattoir. That was kind of obviously going to come up looking at the ads and stuff, but the whole issue of fraud around horses and how they can go to these different countries and have totally different identities was really hard to wrap your head around it.
Yeah, but like one of the things that we reckon when we're dealing with horse racing in general, whether it's anywhere in the world or Royal Ascot this week, you like to think that the horse you're backing or looking at or looking up the form of whatever is the horse, and there's no ringers in this like there used to be 100 years ago, whatever. They bring in one that looks similar and throw it into the race and win a few quid. But like if you can simply put another microchip in or change a microchip, what's the whole thing with this? It's all bullshit, is it? You can have any horse could be anywhere.
Well, when you go to the races, like when the horse is running first time out in particular, but they might do it randomly as well. Like they'll scan the microchip every time, but the vet might often randomly check the markings of the horse as well. So every horse is marked as a foal, and then they're microchipped as well. But I suppose the markings was probably the more old-fashioned way before microchips came in. I'm not really sure, but the vet will check the markings of the horse every now and again if they hadn't ran for a while, or if it's their first time racing. So it's probably an extra measure that they take in racing just to make sure there's no issues with the microchips, I suppose. And you'd hope that would cut out any danger of that in racing anyway, at least.
Yeah, unless they have a can of spray paint. That's the other thing, isn't it? But look, I don't know. Look, you'd like to think this was, a lot of it was, I don't know what it was in the Abattoir situation there, when you can just spray paint a horse. Maybe they knew there was no one properly checking these when they walked through. Certainly not to a minute level. You'd like to think that if there was a horse running this week in Royal Ascot now, that someone had spray painted the white legs of it 10 minutes before, that someone might spot it. Anyway, moving on. We have Royal Ascot this week. So what about it? We've a huge amount of Irish entries, as you mentioned there. See, we've got 22 Irish trained runners on Tuesday alone, representing 12 different trainers, which is really positive news, I think. Compared to what we see in the likes of Cheltenham, where we do get a lot of Irish runners, but an awful lot of them are attached to 2 or 3 big stables. Wednesday as well, 27 Irish trained horses, 9 different trainers that day. Now, admittedly, Aidan is a huge amount of them. But I see later in the week, we've got 50 entered on Thursday and 48 more Friday. I haven't seen the full entries for Saturday yet. But it should be a great week. And we're looking at quick ground as well. Good to firm at the moment. Good in places. No particular rain due during the week, so you needn't worry about the hair when you're over there. You'll be grand. Yeah.
Yeah, the ground was actually kind of surprising, because like looking into doing a few videos last week around Ascot, and the forecast was fairly unsettled, so I was kind of maybe expecting it to be on the slower side, but fast ground, probably typically what you'd normally expect for Ascot, I suppose. Something a nice week there as well. But yeah, like you said about the Irish trainers, it's great. And like you kind of mentioned around Cheltenham and stuff like that, like there might be loads of Irish trainers going to Cheltenham, but just looking at the kind of declarations for the first 2 days in Ascot, like there's loads of different Irish trainers with real good chances as well. Like it's not just sending them over no hopers. Like obviously Aidan has a few, Joseph has some really good chances, Diego Diaz make haste on the Tuesday. Catty O'Leary could be a big day for her as well. She's that a bad in that handicap. Willie Mullins obviously has a few. Like there's loads of Irish trainers with good chances. And it's good to see a kind of good spread like that. I think that's kind of something that makes the flat a little bit more attractive in a way. I know the flat doesn't have the following that jumps has at all, but there's such a bigger spread. Like even in the Group 1 races, like it's not being dominated. Like you go to Cheltenham and most of the grade ones are Willie Mullins or Gordon Elliott, Henry de Bromhead thrown in here and there. But like looking through the week at Ascot, it's a massive mix the whole way through. And it makes for interesting viewing, and I enjoy the whole international element of it as well. A few Australians, French, Irish, English, American. It's just great, really.
Yeah, it's great to see how many French are coming as well. Like normally they're totally missing more or less at Cheltenham and at the other big national hunt ones. But even on the flat, they tend not to travel that often. But my goodness, there's a load of them this week already in the declarations we've seen, including French Guineas winners. That's going to be some race, isn't it? The St. James's Palace Stakes. As good a race as I think I've seen. 3 2,000 Guineas winners and Henry Longfellow. How good could Henry Longfellow be? Like, I know he's well beaten in the French version, but my God, his 2-year-old form looked exceptional. By Dubawi out of minding.
I was hoping for a bit more range from him now. I was actually quite fancying him last week. I thought a little bit of cut might have given him a better chance, but still, it's a cracking race, and you'd imagine like just putting a line through that run in France. And I think Aidan was kind of half blaming himself, similar to how he was at City of Troy. So I wouldn't be surprised at all to see him bounce back. And like you said, out of mining by Dubawi, he should be even better this year, and he was brilliant last year. So yeah, that St. James's Palace is a cracker, and the Prince of Wales as well. Even though White Birch hasn't been declared, I was looking forward to him possibly going there. But Inspiral, massively interesting runner in that as well for John Gosden. It'd be a nice challenge for Augusta Rodin, because I'd say conditions will probably be perfect for Inspiral on the day. Like you mentioned, quick ground she seems to come out at her best. So that looks like a cracker there as well.
Yeah, White Birch, a little bit disappointing. I was hoping White Birch would run, because I don't think the ground, I personally don't think the ground is that big an issue. It was officially good when he went and beat Augustus Rodin in the Curragh the last day. So I thought, good to firm, good in places. It's similar. Maybe it's just a little bit quicker. I don't know they 100% want to go here anyway, is maybe in the back of my mind here. But look, White Birch, it's going to be a great season. Really looking forward to seeing the horse reappear wherever that is in the next while. Anyway, we shall move on to a bet of the week. Emma, have you got a good one for me?
Bet of the week. I'm really starting to fancy Opera Singer for the Coronation. Is that on Friday? Fallen Angels come out of the race now, and vibes around her seem to be really, really strong. I'd say she'll come on an awful lot for that run in the Irish Guineas, but I'll give 2 because I'm cheating a small bit. But I think Continuous as well in the Hardwick. I really like him. So obviously his first start of the season, you'd always imagine Aidan's will come on plenty for it, but he did gallop at the Curragh on Guineas Day. Looked in good enough shape there, so you'd hope he'd be fairly ready for this. But Opera Singer, I think, would be pretty hard to beat.
All right, you're sticking with the Ballydoyles. I'll give one, because I think it's the banker of the week for me anyway. Is Kyprios in the Gold Cup on Thursday, but it's no price, 4 to 5, so it's not going to make anyone rich. So I'm going to give another one that I think might just possibly make someone a few quid. Little word of caution, you got to go each way here. It's in the Royal Hunt Cup, the only Irish trained horse in the race, and it is Coeur d'Or, which is French for Heart of Gold. And Dermot Well trains it, Chris Hayes rides, and there's lots to like here, I think, anyway. He won the Colm Quinn BMW Mile at Galway last August, and then went on to win the Paddy Power Irish Cambridgeshire later that same month as well. Both races over the mile, runs over a mile in the Royal Hunt Cup. It needs decent ground. That's the key here, because it did run in Ascot last year. They sent it over for the Balmoral Handicap last October, which would be a very similar race, a similar class of race over the same straight mile, and finished 8th of 20 that day, but that was on soft ground, and it just petered out in the last furlong on the soft ground, in my opinion anyway. So it's had one run so far this season, Coeur d'Or, over 6 furlongs up the Curragh, way too short, and flew home, never near. I think we're looking here. It was only beaten 2.5 lengths that day over 6 furlongs, and back up to the mile. And this looks like it's been a plan. I think it's definitely worth a bet each way. Not quite sure what sort of price you'll get on the day, but we're talking around 14 to 1, I think I did see in the anti-post market. So that's it for me. And you'll be there that day, Emma, will you? For
yeah, it's a nice one to follow now. Might win me a bit of drinking money on the day. Yeah, I'm going Tuesday, Wednesday. So, like I said, haven't been to Royal Ascot, but I don't know. People maybe complain about the dress code a bit, but it's kind of like, I think I said it earlier, but it's kind of adds to the kind of occasion of it. It's not like a standard day or racing, I suppose. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. We're staying in Windsor now, so it's only 10 or 15 minutes from the track, and a few of us going over. Talked my brother into going as well a few days ago, so he booked the last minute flights, and yeah, hopefully make a good 2 days of it.
Yeah, that's great fun, I'd say. Yeah, terrific. And what about the rest of them going? They're either, are you going into the Royal Enclosure? Is that part of the tickets, or where are you with it?
To be honest, I'm not really sure. I didn't organise the tickets myself now, but I think we got good tickets. So yeah, but we don't. There's a few of us going over now, and hopefully, your tip there could make us a few quid. We'll be coming home happy enough.
And what colour's the hat, so we can look out for you on the telly?
Oh God, I'll be probably hiding from the camera now. I have a navy and white outfit, matching hat, and I got a pink dress and a kind of a cream hat. So
you have different outfits for both days. You're not staying in the same suit like I'd be if I was there for the 2 days. No.
No, I actually, my brother went to Cheltenham a few years ago, and he it was like a student day out or something, and they got a bus for the day coming over and back on the ferry. And he bought one suit, and he ended up staying till Friday. I think they went on Tuesday. So that was I'd say the suit was walking when he came home, but I'm going to be a bit more organised than that now.
The same down in Galway for the 7 days. There'd be lads in the same outfit for the 7 days, same socks and underwear and everything, I'd say. And the same down in Listowel, if they even wear socks and underwear in Listowel. There you go. Anyway, have a great week. Enjoy it. And everyone watching, look, I hope you have a great week too. Do gamble responsibly if you're having a bet now. Don't go mad. It is Royal Ascot. It's very difficult, very competitive racing, but it should be good fun to watch. And do subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And hopefully by the time you come back next week, we'll have Johnny Ward back as well, telling us all about the new baby. I'd say his eyes will be hanging over his head. He won't get any sleep for the first week anyway. There you go. Anyway, have a great week. Talk to you all soon. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.